Hello again, welcome to The Conversation, the show that is still full of energy despite the pressures on our squad during an international break that seems to be going on forever. Never negative, always positive. Troy Townsend is alongside me, and I'm pleased to say Ryan Conway, the Athletics Derby County correspondent, along with the former Liverpool, Leicester and England striker Emile Heskey. On the show this week, Rooney, Rosenior and maybe even Rafa. We separate the fact and the fiction, and we ask who is most qualified to take over at Derby County. We'll also look at the back pages, England's game against Iceland, and after those stories about Rashford and Greenwood, we will discuss the representation of young black men in our media industry. But let's start with the Derby job. They are bottom of the championship. They've had just one win in their 11 games so far this season. Philip Cocu was sacked at the weekend. Now, as things stand, Wayne Rooney is the favourite for the job. But Liam Rosenior, who's been working as part of the interim team, he's the one with the pro licence. Rooney doesn't have his A licence as yet. Unravel it for us, Ryan.
Yeah, there's a lot to unravel. I think, Liam Rosenior was the one on the touchline, giving the instructions, making the tactical changes against Barnsley. He's a very active coach in that way, in terms of how he wants to manage his team. I think, internally, the feeling is that Rooney wants the job. And the feeling is, if the appointment comes from within, that Rooney will get the job. Now, my issue with that is he's not the most qualified coach for the job. Internally, I have no doubt that one day Wayne Rooney will make a good manager. The career he's had speaks for itself. But in terms of right now, Liam Rosenior is much more qualified than Rooney to have that job. And he's been coaching for what he did with Brighton in 2018. He's been part of Philip's staff. And from everything that I've heard, everyone at the club has a tremendous amount of respect for him. He has been preparing the team in terms of what they're doing for Bristol City this weekend. He has been much more hands-on and preparing them in his interim sort of co-manager role with Wayne. And look, the natural narrative will be, if they get a win this weekend, the natural narrative to pivot towards is, Wayne Rooney's done himself a lot of favours. Well, Liam Rosenior will have done himself a lot of favours as well if they get a win.
Let's just go around the room. What do we think of the general picture with that managerial potential appointment of Wayne Rooney? First of all, yourself, Troy.
Yeah, it comes as natural when you bring someone of the stature of Wayne Rooney into your football club, and he starts as a coach. You kind of think that the pathway has already been drawn into, if there is an opportunity to then take on the top role, then he's in line for it and he'll be the number one choice. Again, my issue is, and it's not a black and white issue, pardon the pun, it's more the fact of his qualifications. Is he got the desired qualifications to do the job at that level? And should that be the thing that holds him back, and he shouldn't take on a managerial role until he has those desired qualifications. Liam Rosenior is very highly thought of and speaks so well just about football in general, about his analysis on programs that he was on were spot on. He's absolutely respected, as Ryan says, and I think he's a manager just waiting to step up to the plate, and Derby County would be an excellent opportunity for him. We compare Wayne's opportunity to the likes of, we had Andy Priest on, didn't we, Darren? And, speaking about the journeys of those that had to go to Macclesfield, Sol Campbell, Paul Ince. But then you look at it and think, well, Frank Lampard started at Derby and Steven Gerrard started at Glasgow Rangers. So is this going to be an appointment that mirrors those two? And I think it's one that we'll all be keenly watching to see the outcome of.
Just very quickly, Troy, what does it say about the diversity code if, again, we got another big name shoehorned into another big job? Or is it the case that, let's not kid ourselves, owners can spend the money, make decisions because it's their money, it's up to them?
Listen, Dee, I've always said, and we all know on this platform, ultimately the owner will do whatever they feel is right for the football club. No voluntary code, no Rooney rule, pardon the pun again there, no anything will make them choose someone that they feel is not fit for purpose for their football club. So they will run with what they feel is right. They will run with what the boardroom, wants. And it's no doubt that the name of a Wayne Rooney and his first managerial position will be high up on their list. I don't know the impact of that diversity code without knowing it fully well, because I still think it's something that's trying to be embedded into many a club, and I don't think you'll get instant results on that anyway. We'll have to wait and see until the end of the season and when all those stats and figures come into play.
Emile, you're doing your coaching badges. Liam already has his. How do you read that picture at Derby County?
Look, I think when you've got someone of that stature, where Liam's actually got his pro license and he's doing some wonderful things, and he's getting praise from not just people in your club, but people from outside the club as well. They're recognizing what he actually brings to the table, to the plate. You've got to look at that within and say, and really give it some real consideration. On the lines of coaching, that's the interesting thing, where I think Wayne Rooney will prefer to be a manager rather than actually being the hands-on day-to-day coach, tactical analysis, delving all into that sort of things. You actually create a team around you that do a lot of that for you. I don't think Wayne Rooney would want to do that, to be that hands-on. So you look more toward Liam, who actually has the ability to do that and wants to do that. Plus, can I throw another name in there as well? Michael Johnson, who is actually ambassador of Derby County, who, if I'm right, took Guyana to their first Gold Cup competition in their history. Did well there as well. Has his pro license as well. Has coached. Is coaching with the England under-21s as well, and doing very well. So there's plenty of candidates. But again, it all boils down and goes back to what Troy was talking about, is the owners have the right to choose who they want, and it's up to them who they choose.
Yeah, and just to be clear on that, Sheikh Khaled, whose takeover is set to be concluded within the next few days. He's a cousin of the Manchester City owner, Sheikh Mansour. The suggestion is that a permanent successor to Koku is going to be named after the takeover is completed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to shoot for the stars, then boy, just shoot for them. It's a long shot. It's a name that's being mentioned, I think, more in definite hope than expectation. But if it's a new era, a new regime, the sums of money that are being bandied around are true, and it's very difficult to pin down Sheikh Khaled's actual wealth. But if Rafa Benitez is available and wants the job, then I think why would you not offer Rafael Benitez that job with the CV that he's got? But I think it's certainly more towards the end of dreaming than a possible reality.